And welcome back to Sports on Tap. It's our Week 10 recap. Finishing up the season here is Week 10 in the books, and
Yes,
it's our last regular season game of the week as we traveled right down the road here to Brunswick High School as the Strongsville Mustangs took on the Brunswick Blue Devils in an old rivalry game that always – Even if the teams aren't in the playoffs, it's an amazing atmosphere, a fun time, and it was good to be back. However, the game itself, what a one-sided affair this was, Sean.
Very much so, Rob. Let's start off as the Strongsville Mustangs came in, and they really had their way with Brunswick, both offensively and defensively, kind of from the jump. The opening kickoff took the ball all the way down to the Brunswick 44, and then 2 plays later, quarterback Johnny Major would score on a 35-yard touchdown run, and the Mustangs led 7-0 early in the first. The Mustangs would score again on a 64-yard touchdown pass from Major to wide receiver Joe Gillette. Strongsville up 14-0 with midway through the first quarter. Now the Blue Devils did fumble the ball deep in their own territory, and Mustang linebacker Tommy Zacharias, who defensively for the Mustangs was all over the field. Friday night. Any play that was done defensively, he was in on it. They recovered the ball on the Brunswick 30-yard line, and the next play, Major would hit Gillette for a 28-yard touchdown pass. Gillette had 2 scoring touchdowns his second scoring touchdown of the night. Now Strongsville was out to a 21-0 lead, and still in the first quarter, the Mustangs' defense, again, swarming, and they were able to force a Blue Devil punt, and Johnny Major would make Brunswick pay with an 81-yard touchdown pass to tight end Sean Sire. As the first quarter ended, Strongsville led this one 28-0. It got worse for Brunswick as their offense was just dominated by the Strongsville defense in the second quarter, forcing yet another punt, setting up another Mustang scoring drive. This time capped off with a 4-yard touchdown run from running back Taylor Griffin. The Strongsvilles now led 35-0 in the second quarter. The turnover bug continued to plague the Blue Devil offense, forcing a fumble recovered by defensive lineman Peter Schumacher on the Brunswick 13-yard line. Joe Gillette would score his third touchdown of the night on a 13-yard run off the edge to a missed 2-point conversion. I don't know if it was an actual 2-point conversion or just a bad snap.
Bad snap.
It was a bad snap. There was some debate as to whether or not that was a planned 2-point conversion. It looked like a broken play, but nonetheless, a missed 2-point conversion resulted in a 41-0 lead, and that would be the final score, 41-0, as it was running clock time after halftime. And again, it just there wasn't a lot of offense on Brunswick's side of the ball. It kind of seemed like they couldn't get out of their own way with penalties, miscues, things like that. And you know what? They mentioned this earlier in the game. There was a tragic loss at Strongsville, and they were playing. I think one of their faculty members passed away. Was that the?
It was a middle school teacher.
Middle school teacher.
Yes.
Middle school
teacher was.
It was a horrific incident.
It was not a family friendly.
Yeah. So
discussion.
there was some emotional aspect to it as well, but there were some classy things done by Brunswick as well. There were some we stand with them things going on, but it was a rivalry in the sense that the Mustangs came in on Brunswick territory and they just had their way with them, and it was pretty much a game over type situation. And the problem is that Brunswick had an outside shot at a playoff. While unlikely, they had an outside shot, and that loss pretty much put the nail in that coffin. So, it's
and I mean, you look at Strongsville. I mean, Johnny Major is he was a tough player in this game. I mean, whether passing, I don't know how many times receivers were getting in back of the defense, and I don't know if the defense just I think their communication and they were almost falling asleep a little bit on the tight end from Strongsville.
Yeah.
Gillette scored a few times. He got him back, and they made some wrong pass plays, but then they ran the ball.
Yep.
And Brunswick on offense, it seemed like the communication wasn't there, from receivers, from the quarterback. The quarterback's yelling at the receivers to run your right routes, and you could tell there was just some miscommunication going on. But Strongsville came out and really struck first, and it was an impressive win by Strongsville. There's no doubt about that. And they were obviously, they were out of the playoffs already, but we had a chance to talk to Lou Serino, the first-year head coach at Strongsville, and he talked a little bit about the game.
Our kids were ready. They prepared all year. We were on a roll a little bit. We won our last 3 in a row. Offensive line dominated, defensive line dominated, shut them out. All around a very clean game by our team, and I think that was a culmination of the year. Each week we got better, and that's how it culminated.
Yeah, and I think he hit it on the head. That you could tell their confidence kept rising, especially after this game. I mean, offensive line did a great job, and overall, Strongsville just a very impressive 41-0 win.
But I think you can't really. I mean, look at both of these teams and where they were 1 year ago.
Oh yeah,
record-wise,
and in
the GCC overall, that's a huge accomplishment to go from. I think Brunswick had 2 wins last year, and now they ended the season at 5-5.
Both teams actually had 2
yeah,
wins.
So I mean, it's something to hang your hat on. I know it's disappointing on the Brunswick side of it to have the season end that way, especially on senior night, things like that, getting blown off the field there. But at the end of the day, you got to hang your hat on something, and the fact that you've at least doubled your win total.
Yeah, there's no doubt it's a step in the right direction. Yep. And we said it before the year. It's if people think Coach Pinzoni's going to come here and all of a sudden have 8 wins.
Yeah.
You got to take small steps, and I think that's what they did this year. I mean, a lot of positive things. Some road wins. They had some bumps in the road, no doubt about it. Some big time losses, but they came back and won some games.
The seniors went through some. The seniors this year went through a couple of rough years, and they hung together. And there were some games that we lost the last couple of years that we won this year. From that aspect, we're obviously very proud of them, and they set a foundation for us. Now it's up to the sophomores and the juniors to take that and go forward with it. And we got a little bit of the sting eased a little bit with the victory on the JV, which obviously doesn't count in the standings, but it's always good to see victory on that side. The JV team wrapped up a 3-7 season, but you always have a better taste in your mouth when you're beating your rival on their home field, much like they did to us on Friday night. So, not much more to add to the Friday night game. It obviously didn't go the way we wanted it to, and we're into the off season, and we'll be ready for 18.
All right. Well, right now we'll step away. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll go over some of the playoff matchups in the different divisions and regions throughout the area. And if we don't cover your region, send us a message, and we can find your team and where you're at. All right, we're Sports on Tap, part of the NEOSportsInsiders.com. Check out SportsOnTapPodcast.com. We'll be right back to talk playoffs next.